Employee of the Month, Carlita Mendez. What a joke. It's that obnoxious nurse.
It's all right, Claude.
Understood, sir.
So, you managed to find me.
I did.
Well, let's get this over with then. How do you want your pictures? Shall I get some tubes to fill my face with? Will that suffice for your front page?
I'm no journalist. Well, not yet anyway.
Ah, she's but a cub. So, you're hoping for your big break. Surely this must be worth an internship at one of the big papers. Do you want me to call Thompson at the Times and get it over with? I still play golf with him every once in a while.
You're assuming a lot, Mr. Wade.
Guilty as charged. It's a stance I find remarkably effective for a man with little time and a tendency to be correct.
You might want to rethink that attitude. I have a history of surprising people.
Is that so? Very well, I'll indulge you for now. Who are you then?
I'm Kэty Рэйn. Joseph was my grandfather.
Now I remember. You were at the funeral.
I was.
You were late.
I needed my morning smoke. Besides, it's not like Grandpa was going anywhere.
Oh, just look at her, Claude. She's absolutely fearless. That's Joseph's blood running through her veins.
She certainly has a smart mouth, sir.
I must say, you have me intrigued, Kathy. What can this old man help you with?
Do you know anything about what happened to my grandfather in '81?
I wish I did, Kathy. You must know I did everything in my power to help. How do you think Mary Elizabeth could afford all that expensive treatment? MRIs, neurologists, say what you will about Joseph. But he was never rich.
Strange. Grandma never mentioned that to me.
She's just too proud. At first she refused. She was convinced that I had an agenda, that there were strings attached.
And were there?
Don't be silly. Despite all that had happened, I still loved Joseph dearly. I wanted to help. People from places like this have a deeply rooted mistrust in the rich, passed on for generations. In her eyes, I had become one of them.
So that's all you know about the whole affair?
Are you implying that there's more to know? I left the diagnosis to the professionals. Mrs. Рэйн accepted the health care, but asked me to stay out of everything else. So I did.
I see. What can you tell me about your friendship with Grandpa?
Joseph was the best friend I ever had. We grew up together, married our high school sweethearts together, went to war together. I can't even begin to count the number of times he's saved my life. I repaid the favor once or twice, but he came up ahead, no doubt.
So when did you two lose touch? I heard that something happened between you and him. What was it?
The truth is, Brian Рэйн happened. Sharon Evans happened.
My parents?
Yes. They ruined everything with their vile, destructive behavior. I couldn't have that around my daughter or my newborn grandson. Joseph was naive. He believed that anyone could be helped, that anyone could be reasoned with, given a chance. He was just too good, bless him. He should have been harder on Brian, more strict.
It's hardly Grandpa's fault. He did everything he could to set my father straight.
Oh, I never claimed to doubt Joseph's commitment, but I'm not going to ignore his flaws either. Your grandfather often used his heart when he should have used his head.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I believe it is, objectively. But I shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Eventually, my company grew much too large for this little town, and we moved on. Not long after that, your grandfather ended up in that wheelchair. That marked the end of our friendship, for obvious reasons.
Do you recognize the call sign Cocky?
Would be strange if I didn't, since I was the one who coined it. It belongs to a fellow named Jimmy Cochran. He was a coward, really. The nickname is somewhat of a bad joke.
Perfect. Thanks. Tell me about Jimmy Cochran. Is he still alive?
In a literal sense. He's been held in a mental institution for years.
Let me guess. Since 81?
Either 82 or 83. I'm fairly certain it was early 83.
Do you remember the name of the institution?
Something starting with an E. Emerson, Everton, or similar.
Ingstrom? Ingstrom Psychiatric Hospital?
Yes, that's the one. You know the place, Kathy.
I do. My mother is in there. Sharon Evans? I had her committed about a year ago.
I see. It must have taken a lot of courage to do that, Kathy. Mothers have a lot of power over us, more than most of us care to admit.
I guess so. Do you know why Jimmy ended up in there?
Some obsessive-compulsive syndrome. He became fixated with circles and started hurting himself, trying to scratch the circles out of his head.
Creepy. I wonder what set him off. I think I'll check the place out tomorrow. Too late to head back to the city now. You bought a number of paintings by Lily Myers. Why?
I'm known to dabble in art from time to time. Martha, my wife at the time, was enamored with the paintings. I believe she first saw them at the high school which the Myers girl attended. Anyway, after the poor girl killed herself, I bought the paintings speculatively. When a young artist with any talent to speak of commits suicide, it can be a wet dream of certain connoisseurs. Shortly after procuring the art, I had it valued by an expert who determined that the value was 3 times the amount I bought it for. Today, I'm sure I would have made my money back tenfold or more if it wasn't for the art theft.
What art theft?
There was a burglary at the mansion I used to own here in town. It was all over the local news at the time.
Well, shit.
Eloquently put.
Can you tell me about the art theft?
Well, somebody broke in, stole the paintings, and got out. Fairly clumsy job. Lots of broken windows. The strangest thing was that I had a Monet, a Rembrandt, and 2 paintings by Picasso, untouched. But every single painting by an unknown local artist, gone.
That can't be a coincidence.
Agreed. Somebody wanted those paintings badly.
I assume there was an investigation.
Yes, Sheriff Truman came by with his deputy a few hours later, but they didn't have much luck. They found a few hairs, which turned out to be from Ruffles, the family dog.
Some stunning police work right there.
Indeed. There was a single witness, though, who said he could make out multiple burglars leaving the scene of the crime, but nothing more than that.
So, I take it the case was closed?
Yes. I honestly didn't care much one way or the other, given the fact that my most expensive pieces were safe and sound.
I think I'll have a chat with the sheriff about the matter, if that's okay with you.
Certainly. I'll call ahead and instruct him to give you everything you need.
That'd be great. Thanks, Charles.
Anytime. But I'm curious, what's your interest in the paintings?
I've learned that my grandfather went to Sue and asked to see them, right before he had his injury.
Is that so? Strange.
What can you tell me about the Church of the Holy Trinity?
They seem like any other church to me. But then again, I'm not their usual clientele. Weddings, baptisms, and funerals are just about what I can muster. And I always leave early.
Do you recognize this, Charles?
Of course. Your grandfather, me, Jimmy Cochran, taken shortly before we went to the war.
You guys look like you just won the lottery or something.
Indeed. We were mere children, with no concept of what we were getting into.
Do you know what this key opens?
You must be truly desperate if you ask random people a question like that.
What do you see in this picture, Charles?
Fireflies would be my best guess. They can grow terribly large around these parts.
Do you know what this is?
A flower. Why don't you consult a botanist instead of bothering me with this nonsense?
I don't need to show him that. Thanks, Charles. That's all I need for now.
You're welcome, Kathy. Come back anytime.
Looks like Wade brought some of his old tunes with him. That guy is huge. I wonder how many cows he eats per day. I'd rather not. He'd crush me like a twig. Well, this is it. This is where the picture was taken. I'm not sure what I expected to find here. I need to clear my head. What the?
We've met before, haven't we?
I doubt it. You look like you just escaped from a circus. That's not really my kind of gig.
Yet you always play the part of the clown, Kathy.
Who are you? How do you know my name?
You told me, remember?
I feel strange. Am I dreaming?
It's the mending I will try to facilitate.
You're not real. I'm lying asleep in my bed right now.
Focus, Kathy. Listen to the drowned girl.
You mean Lily? What about her?
She's the anomaly, the missing refrain, the convergence point of things past and events yet to happen.
Dial down the metaphors a notch, would you, Mr. Kafka? I get enough of that shit in English class.
I knew you wouldn't disappoint. I'm glad, given how much trouble I went through to be here. You see, my name was taken from me, so I claimed a color in its stead. The next time we meet, you'll know the exact hue of red. You're on the right path, Kathy. Follow your grandfather, and everything will work out in the end.
Wait, what? How did I get here? Am I going crazy? Am I turning into Mom? Looks like the rain finally stopped. It's a photocopy of a book page with information about the red scythe flower. Here's an interesting segment. Another interesting trait of the red scythe is the smell, which is familiar to that of a pepper. The pollen of the plant has also been known to cause hallucinations in concentrated amounts. Native American tribes harvested and smoked the plant for that reason, but the flower never caught on as a modern recreational drug due to the difficulty of growing it.
Oh, hello, dear. Glad to see you again so soon.
Hi, Grandma. I just thought I'd drop by.
Sure, hon. Stay as long as you'd like.
Mind if we talk for a bit, Grandma?
Not at all, dear. What's on your mind?
Do you know who Jimmy Cochran is? He was a friend of Grandpa's.
I believe he teaches at the flight school these days.
I don't think so, at least not anymore. I was told he was placed in a mental facility.
Really? He always struck me as a kind man, maybe a bit nervous and on edge, but not crazy.
There's more. I found out that Jimmy asked Grandpa for help not long before Grandpa ended up in that wheelchair. Jimmy sounded really desperate. I'm sure what happened to Grandpa that night had something to do with his cry for help.
You should go find the man, then. Surely he must know something.
That's the plan. I just wondered if there's anything else you think I should know about him.
Not really. We haven't stayed in touch since Joseph was injured. I know that he had a wife, Agatha, and a son, James. Agatha passed away from cancer years ago, but as far as I know, James still lives in the city with his family.
Okay, thanks, Grandma. I don't see a reason to ask her about that. What do you see in this picture, Grandma?
I have no idea, but it's quite an eerie display. What is it?
I'm trying to figure that out. I found the picture hidden in the attic.
Oh, come to think of it, the trees do look similar to the ones in Conwell Woods.
Yeah, it was taken somewhere in that area. I found out that the flower in the picture matches a rare local species.
Aren't you clever? Do let me know if you come across anything else.
Do you know anything about this flower, Grandma?
I can't say that I do. I remember seeing it growing in the woods, but I didn't think much of it at the time.
Bye, Grandma. I'll be back later.
So long.
Hello? Creepy bald guy. Guess no one's home. What's this? A bald man dressed in red. Oh, creepy. Looks like a specimen of the red scythe. It's endangered. I'm not going to take it without a really good reason. Hello, Sheriff. Mind if I ask you a few more questions?
If you must.
Do you know anything about the art theft in the Wade estate?
Yes, Mr. Wade phoned ahead about that. Lenny,
Yes, boss.
get the report from the burglary in the Wade estate back in '86.
On it, boss. There you go, Kathy.
Thanks, buddy. I gotta find this Goldfarb guy. Maybe he knows more about the burglary. Hey, Lenny.
Hello, Kathy. What's up?
Does the name Franklin Goldfarb mean anything to you?
Sounds familiar, but I can't place him.
Nah, I don't want to ask him. Nah, I don't. Do you know who Jimmy Cochran is?
Not really, Kathy. Sorry.
I'll hang on to it for now. Well, gotta go.
See ya.
Hello, Sheriff. Mind if I ask you a few more questions?
If you must.
Do you know who Jimmy Cochran is?
Nope.
I don't need to ask him that now. Does the name Franklin Goldfarb mean anything to you?
Never heard of him. Anything else?
I don't need to ask him that. I don't want to show him that. That's all for now.
Good.
No Goldfarb in here. Maybe he moved? I should ask around and see if anyone knows him. No result for that.
Oh, hello.
Mind if we talk for a bit, Grandma?
Not at all, dear. What's on your mind?
Does the name Franklin Goldfarb mean anything to you?
Oh, that poor man. He used to be an upstanding citizen, you know. Now he's constantly drinking and keeps babbling on about that imaginary acting career of his.
Sad thing. Do you know where I can find him?
He's homeless, dear. Lost his job a few years ago and never really got back on his feet.
Okay, now I know who you're talking about. Thanks, Grandma. Looks like I'm gonna have to have a chat with Goober. Well, gotta go, Grams. Talk to you later.
Bye, Kathy.
I need a word, Miss Mendez.
Wait, how do you know my name?
It's written on that board behind you, genius.
You have the eyesight of a bald eagle or something?
What can I say? I'm a freak of nature. What happened to Goober, anyway?
Who?
The guy who had the seizure?
Oh, he ran off somewhere. Kept babbling about a religious near-death experience.
Okay, thanks. I can see someone moving inside.
Oh, it's you again. Come on in.
No Nathan today?
Nah, haven't seen Nate all day. Probably out in the woods.
Looks like Nathan knows the strange red man. I need to talk to him about this. I had a few more questions, Sue.
Shoot.
Did you know that somebody stole Lily's paintings from Wade?
Huh? I knew he got robbed a few years back, but I thought he still had them all.
I don't need to ask her about that. Does the name Franklin Goldfarb mean anything to you?
You mean Goober? Nobody calls him Franklin anymore.
Right, that's Goober. Do you know who the red man is?
Oh, that's just Nate's imaginary friend. The red man has been around ever since my boy was little.
I see. So there's no actual person in town he could be referring to?
No way! According to Nathan, the red man hasn't changed in 30 years.
Sounds like he has quite an active imagination then.
Oh, you have no idea. He has unique names for each of the kitchen utensils. Nuff said.
Do you know anything about this flower?
Sure. Smoked it a few times back in the day, before it was endangered and all.
Yeah? What was it like?
Similar to pot, but stronger and more unpredictable. Never touched the stuff after I got pregnant with Lily.
All right. Sue, what do you see in this picture?
My God, that looks like one of Lily's paintings.
Wow, really? Can you describe it?
It was a nighttime scene, just like the photo, but the lights were floating above the lake. There was a pale hand reaching up from beneath the surface trying to touch them. The forest in the background was on fire, making the sky purple and red. There were probably other details too, but that's what I can remember.
Sounds captivating. Wish I could have seen it. Did you know that somebody stole Lily's paintings?
Huh, I knew.
It was fun the last time, but I think I'm gonna head off now.
Sure thing, little cat. Come back anytime.
It's an early painting by Lily Myers. Conwell Lake, where Lily Myers met her demise. Hello, Father.
Greetings, my child. I'm glad you decided to come here.
Yeah, but just so you know, I'm not here to join your church or anything.
Oh, I would never assume that.
Good. So, with that out of the way, I have some questions.
Anything you need. I'm Isaac Price.
Kathy Räyn, but I'm guessing you figured that out already.
I did. Rumors spread quickly around here. So how can I be of service?
Do you know anything about what happened to my grandfather in '81?
It was the work of the devil, I'll say that much. Joseph was a kind man. He did not deserve such a fate. You heard my speech at the funeral, Kathy. I meant every word. He was a great man who did much good for this community.
Did you know him personally?
In a way. He and my father did charity work together. Joseph was around a lot when I was young. They collaborated on a few different projects for the homeless and for the troubled youth, among other things.
So my grandfather was a member of the church?
I wouldn't say that, no. He was a friend of the church, but he wasn't a religious man. He believed only in philanthropy. That being said, Joseph was the person who convinced me to become a priest.
Really?
Oh yes, I was a teenager back then, full of rebellion, every fiber of my being wanting to distance myself from my father. Joseph made me realize my sinful pride and showed me how I should follow my heart regardless of what others might think. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Do you know who Jimmy Cochran is?
I don't recognize that name, no.
Does the name Lily Myers mean anything to you?
It does. I was a substitute teacher in her high school for some time before I was ordained.
Really? Did you know her personally?
We weren't close. I only knew her as much as a teacher would know any student.
All right, so how did she seem toward the end?
For one, she started skipping school a lot, and when she did show up, she was absent-minded and moody. She always looked depressed and hunched down like she had a whole world on her shoulders.
Any idea of what caused this change?
Not a clue. All I know is that when she returned from that last summer break, she was a whole different person.
Do you know anything about an art theft at the Wade estate in the 80s?
I have just a vague memory of reading about it in the paper.
Care to tell me the history of the church?
I'd be happy to. The story is a fascinating one. This church was founded by my father, William T. Price, in the 70s. Back then, he made his living as a traveling salesman and was driving through this area as he'd done so many times before. However, this day was different. My father held dark thoughts in his mind. He was angry, thinking of evil deeds, even considering swerving off the road into a rock and ending it all. Then suddenly, divine intervention. 3 bright lights appeared. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, the sign of God. This epiphany was the moment my father had been waiting for. He sold all of his belongings and took me and my brother to live with him here in Conwell Springs. Soon thereafter, he built this church and started gathering followers. They began to refer to him as Father Bill.
I take it that window up there resembles what he saw when he had this epiphany?
Indeed. The stained glass window depicts the Holy Trinity as witnessed by my father.
Do you know exactly when or where this event took place?
Why do you ask?
Oh, just curious. It's a captivating story.
Well, it was in the spring of 1971, but my father never told anyone where.
Okay, so what happened then?
People flocked to Father Bill. He started teaching, writing scripture. The church flourished and continued to grow all the way up until his sudden death in 1983. That's when I stepped in to take leadership of the church.
I take it that the church started declining after the death of Father Bill?
Yes, naturally so. With such a magnetic personality, he was irreplaceable. But I assure you the church is still very much thriving.
Looks kinda empty to me.
It's not really our peak hours.
What's up with you handing out pamphlets at funerals then? Trying to reel people in at a weak moment?
I'm going to assume you meant no disrespect, child. I'm simply providing divine guidance when it's needed the most.
Do you know who Franklin Goldfarb is?
I'm afraid not, my child.
This may sound strange, but have you heard of or seen a strange man dressed in red?
Only our Lord and Savior Jesus. Surely his rags were drenched in blood as he lay upon the cross.
That's not what I meant. I mean someone here in Conwell Springs.
Are you joking? I haven't seen a person like that, no.
Do you recognize the men in this picture, Isaac?
Only your grandfather, and that's just because I was given a similar picture for the service the other day.
I could, but I think I have more to gain from a subtle strategy. I'll keep it to myself for now, until I know more about this church. Father, do you know anything about this flower?
No, my child. Nothing at all.
I don't need to show him that. That's all I need for now, Father.
May the Lord shine his light on you.
It's an altar. You know, the place where they put the sacrificed goats, kids, and other crap. Impressive window. There's no doubt about it. Those are the smoky lights. I really shouldn't. They might burn. Hello again, Goober.
You again? Are you stalking me, girl? You pop up everywhere I go. I'll try to tone down the charm, but I can't promise anything.
Huh, yeah, you're quite the charmer.
I know. I just said that, man.
Listen, I feel kind of bad about the electrocution.
Oh, that's what it was. What a cherry on top of my stellar performance.
Yeah, it was pretty convincing.
So what brings you to the house of God? Come to repent?
I'm afraid that ship has long since sailed, buddy. I had a few things I wanted to ask you about, though.
Shoot, Missy!
Your real name is Franklin Goldfarb, right?
Oh, nobody calls me that.
Regardless, I know for a fact that you were a witness to a burglary a few years back at the Wade Estate.
Yeah, what about it?
Why don't you tell me what you saw exactly?
I heard the alarm go off, glass breaking, then I saw 3 guys running away, carrying a bunch of stuff.
What did they look like?
It was dark, I don't know, they were definitely 3 big, bulky guys. They
what?
Oh, nothing, that's it. Didn't see anything else.
Bullshit, spit it out.
Well, one of those guys dropped his ring when running away. I sort of pawned it.
A ring? What kind of ring?
Platinum with an inscription. 2 letters, B something. Man, I don't remember. My photographic memory stopped working in 1979.
Which pawn shop was that?
Pete's Pawning and Plumbing. It closed down a long time ago, though. Owner left town. There's a coffee shop back there now.
Too bad. Guess that's a dead end. Thanks anyway. Didn't I see 2 letters fitting that description recently? Not on a building. It was something small. I should probably confront him directly about him being a witness. I don't need to ask him about that. Do you know anything about this flower?
It's red?
Enlightening. Do you know what this is?
Chinese fireworks, of course. They used to call me Dong Pa. I miss the food. Not
Time to hit the off switch now, buddy. Okay, that's all for now.
See ya.
Could lead to a sacristy or a closet of some kind. Locked. Locked. It's a small key, fairly modern design. No identifying tag, unfortunately. My trusty Zippo, running a bit low on fuel. There's a crude inscription, BH, which is a mystery to me. Did the inscription on the ring look anything like this?
Wow, actually exactly like that.
Hello, Isaac. I've got a few more questions for you.
I'm all ears, my child.
Do you know what BH means? It's inscribed on this lighter.
I'm sorry, but no.
That's all I need for now, Father.
May the Lord shine his light on you.
It says Price. It must belong to Isaac's family. A family mausoleum. Isaac's family must be pretty rich. Those things don't come cheap. No reason to go in there. The grave is brimming with flowers.
Oh, hello, dear.
Mind if we talk for a bit, Grandma?
Not at all, dear. What's on your mind?
Do you recognize the acronym BH? It's on Dad's lighter.
Yes, dear, it means the Black Hats. They're those ruffians on motorcycles whom your father is associated with.
Oh, his biker gang. That makes sense. What can you tell me about the Black Hats?
I refuse to talk about those hoodlums. They turned your father into a horrible person. You should stay far away from them, Kathy. They're awful people, just awful.
I don't see a reason to ask her about that. See you later, Grams.
Take care, dear.
Hello, Sheriff. Mind if I ask you a few more questions?
If you must.
What can you tell me about the Black Hats?
Why, you care to join? I'm sure they'd be real impressed by your big bike, but that's a man's club.
Let's just say I have a healthy curiosity.
I'd say your curiosity borders on mental illness. You have a death wish? Bikers don't mess around with little girls.
You gonna help me or not, Sheriff?
Not really. Go bother Lenny with it.
That's all for now.
Good.
Hey, Lenny.
Hello, Kathy. What's up?
What can you tell me about the Black Hats?
They've caused us trouble from time to time, but they've been kind of quiet lately. We put a few of their captains in the slammer over the years, but we never managed to find enough dirt on their leader. Bo Brunson. Big Bo.
Do you know where I can find them?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just find a map.
Got it. Thanks. Well, gotta go.
See ya.
Sweet butt incoming!
Like hell I am. I'm nobody's property.
You sure? Doesn't she look like a sweet butt? Little slut? I think she does.
Step off, creep.
Or what? You tell your daddy on me?
You think I need my daddy to kick your pathetic ass?
Oh, I love it when they play hard to get.
Let go of me! God.
What the hell's going on out here?
Nothing, Prez. Just having a bit of fun with this gash here.
I suggest you leash that dog of yours.
For fuck's sake, Prospect, not again. Get the hell out of here.
Sorry, boss, I'll go. Fuck, that hurt, you cunt.
He'll be disciplined for that.
He better be. I take it you're Bo?
I am. And who are you, darling?
Kathy Рэйн.
Bullshit. She lives in the city with her deranged mother. Who are you, really? Did the Vandals send you?
No, they didn't. I am Kathy Рэйn.
Prove it, then.
Well, I would, but I left my ID back home.
That's convenient. I think I've wasted enough time with you.
I need to figure out some proof. This proof enough for you?
I'll be damned. That's Brian's lighter, all right. Sorry about the paranoia. We've had some problems with the vandals lately.
I get it. Can't be too careful.
So, that's your ride out there. Corley Motors, right? 78?
76.
You got the same taste as your old man. He always rode Corleys.
Probably the only thing he and I have in common.
Did you set up those mods yourself? Looks custom made for your, small frame.
Yeah, took some time to get the measurements right.
I imagine so. Girls like you don't often ride heavy bikes.
I'm not most girls.
Ain't that the truth? Most girls don't just waltz into places like this either.
I guess you'd know. Anyway, I had some questions for you in the club.
Go ahead, then. Your old man was a good brother, so I'll indulge you for now.
What can you tell me about the Black Hats?
Black Hats MC was founded in the 60s by my old man, my uncle, and 2 other local bikers. Conwell Springs is the mother chapter, and we have support clubs in 6 other locations across 3 states. There's a total of 16 members here, 12 patch, 4 prospects. I'm the acting president of this chapter as well as of the whole club. Have been for more than 15 years.
The law give you any trouble?
They used to be tough when your granddad was around. He and Truman ran a tight ship.
And now?
Now they try, but Boyks and the boy are a nuisance at best.
I already showed that to him. Do you know anything about what happened to Joseph Räyn in 1981?
No, we had our differences, me and him, but that's a horrible fate for a man. I'd rather be dead than a vegetable.
So I take it you and him didn't get along.
No, I could write a book about that man. On one page, I'd praise him. On the next, I'd want to smash his skull in. He could be a real self-righteous prick when he wanted to, that's for sure. But everyone knew he was the real law around here. Truman was a tool. I respected Joseph, and he respected me. But he hated how Brian looked up to me. Joseph always blamed the club for the path Brian chose in life, even though it was just due to him being a shitty father.
You seriously thought Grandpa was a bad parent?
Everybody knew about it. People just tend to forget the bad qualities of men in wheelchairs. Joseph wasn't a saint. He saw everything in black and white. He was only kind to whomever he considered to be good by his narrow moral standards. The ones who wouldn't fit in that small mold didn't get any chances, none whatsoever.
Do you know who Jimmy Cochran is?
No.
Do you know anything about Lily Myers?
Nothing that anyone else around here couldn't tell you.
Tell me, how long have you been the president of this club?
15 years now, give or take. VP for 10 before that.
Good. Then you can tell me why you stole Lily Myers' paintings from Charles Wade in '86.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I'd recommend you be careful with wild accusations like that.
Fine. Is there anything I can do for the club to earn your trust?
You mean like cleaning the toilets, making coffee? I think we got that covered, Cupcake.
Spare me your sexist bullshit. I can take care of business.
You're nothing like your old man, you know that?
I take that as a compliment.
You do that. In any case, I've had enough of this nonsense. Stop pushing your luck.
No use. He's not going to budge on this one. I need to figure out... What can you tell me about the Church of the Holy Trinity?
Do I look like a pious man to you? I've peed on churches.
This may be a weird question, but have you ever met a bald man dressed in red?
I've made a few bald men red. That count?
Do you know anything about this flower bow?
Do I look like a florist to you?
Yeah, a little bit.
You crack me up, girl.
I don't need to show him that. Do you know what this is?
Whoa.
What? Do you recognize that?
I saw one of those with my own eyes a few years ago.
Really? Where?
Middle of the woods, the road to the city. Those things came from nowhere and gave me this crazy headache right on the plate in my head. At the time, I thought it was just a nasty case of migraine.
You have a plate in your head?
Yeah, titanium from a shrapnel wound I got in Nam.
I see. Titanium isn't the least bit magnetic, is it?
How the hell should I know? I'm no scientist.
Do you remember where exactly on the road it happened?
No. Like I said, I dismissed it as a migraine. Didn't pay too much attention as to where I was.
Fair enough. I don't need to show him that. Care to join me for a smoke, Bo?
Sorry, darling. I'm trying to quit.
I don't need to. Hey, Bo, any idea of what this key opens?
You ask weird questions, you know that?
I don't need to show him that.
Right on. I have some business to take care of, but make yourself at home.
Thanks, Bo. See you around.
Hey, Brian's girl.
Yeah?
I overheard you. I'm Emmett.
Hey.
The boss man isn't usually that grumpy. He's got a lot on his mind. But I think I may know of a way to loosen him up.
I'm all ears, buddy.
Well, Bo and Brian are the double Bs, as we used to call them. They used to have this drink together. Brian came up with it. He called it a Bloodier Mary.
Sounds like my kind of drink.
Yeah, it's basically a Bloody Mary, but with pig blood instead of tomato juice.
I take that back. Gross.
I'm kidding. It's just a Bloody Mary, but with a special ingredient added to it.
If you say that special ingredient is blood, I will literally punch you.
No, Brian refused to tell anyone what it was. He only made it for special occasions. It's probably something uncommon, like a rare herb or some kind of expensive spice.
So let me guess. If I can produce this drink for Bo, you think he would help me out?
It'll make him remember Brian, which should go a long way. He hasn't had that drink since your old man disappeared. Brian was like a son to him. The boss would have died for him back in the day. If you could recall the good times with your father, he might change his mind.
I guess it could be worth a try. But wait, why are you helping me?
You're Brian's kid. That means you're family. We take care of family.
Well, how was that drink compared with a regular Bloody Mary?
Tasted a bit more like pepper and had a punch to it. It usually gave some pretty nasty hangovers. Oh, if you had a lot of them, you'd hallucinate some crazy shit. Pretty wild.
Trippy. Thanks.
You're welcome, darling.
Sorry, endangered flower, but I really need to make a drink. Hey, bartender, do you happen to know how to make a Bloodier Mary?
You mean a Bloody Mary?
No, this is something different.
Afraid not. I can make you regular Bloody Mary, though, if you want.
Maybe later. I need to figure something out.
All right, then.
I should give it to the bartender instead. I'd like a Bloody Mary.
Coming right up.
Oh, and add this, will you? Just something I like for flavor. Put it in a blender.
Whatever you say. One Bloody Mary. Enjoy.
Thanks, buddy.
The club will cover that, Jose?
Sure thing, VP.
Thanks again, Emmett.
You got it.
Hey, Bo. I've got something for you.
I recognize that smell. You found your dad's recipe.
Something like that.
Man, is this a trip down memory lane. I keep expecting Brian to walk in here any second. You know, all this nostalgia is making me remember how much I really owe your old man.
Yeah?
Yeah, so here's the deal. In '86, Carl, my VP at the time, came to me and said he had a job lined up for the club. Some guy had offered him good dough for stealing a bunch of paintings from a mansion. He needed 2 brothers for the job. I was busy with other things at the time, so I gave my permission as long as the club got the usual cut. He returned a week later with a nice wad of cash. I didn't realize it was Wade he had knocked off until I read the paper. If I had known that, I'd advised against it. Wade is a powerful man with friends in city council. There's no reason to piss him off.
Got it. So, what do you know about the guy who hired you for the job?
Not much. Carl said it was some bearded preacher.
Whoa, Isaac from the Church of the Holy Trinity?
Could be. I don't know who that is. It was a priest. I know that much.
Thanks, Bo. I'm gonna follow up on this right away.
That's it? You're not gonna ask me about what happened to your old man? Not even curious?
I couldn't give 2 shits about that asshole.
Bullshit. Don't expect anyone to believe you're that angry with someone you don't give 2 shits about.
Either he's dead or he abandoned me. Do any of those options look appealing to you?
They don't, but you should know that no one from the club had anything to do with it. I meant it when I said Brian was a good brother. He had no enemies here. Not then, and not now.
Comforting to hear, Mr. President.
Shut up and listen, girl. I'm trying to tell you something. Brian used to talk about heading to Mexico, about riding off into the sunset and getting away from all his newfound responsibilities. And I think part of him was serious. You deserve to know that there's a chance he's still out there somewhere.
Sure. Let's hope that bastard is living it up somewhere.
Just take care of yourself, you hear?
You too. That day went by fast. I think I'm gonna ask if I can stay the night at Grandma's.